Cindy. Hello, Sue.
Hi, Patricia. How
Hi.
are you?
Very good. It's great to be here with you because I want to hear your story. Cindy, would you like to start out by telling us about your career and what brought you to this point?
Yeah, for sure, Patricia. I jokingly say I've been only in sales 25 years is all that I'll admit to, but I've been running my own training company for 14 years, and I have turned 65 a year ago, so I'm 66 this year, and I've absolutely no desire to stop working. And when we talked about the opportunity of being interviewed today with you about people who are working over 60, I think it's an important message. And I know my sister will agree with me that there is just so much potential beyond those years. And
A
Susan
lot
has
of
joined
wisdom.
me. Wisdom, okay. That's one way to call it. Yeah, it is true. It's
Yeah.
wisdom. Like I said, for me, what I think the most exciting part of having created a program with Susan is that for many, many years I've worked alone. Even when I worked for another company, I worked alone. I was always in sales, and this is the first time in my life I've had the honor and privilege of being able to actually work with someone, and it's been pretty exciting. I hope Susan feels the same way.
Okay,
Well,
Susan, tell us. Is it exciting for you?
absolutely. No, it's amazing. It's great. So just to give you a little bit of my background as well. I took the corporate route. I started out as a sales rep, did that for a few years, and then quickly went into sales management, coaching, training. So pretty much that spanned the breadth of my career for 25 years. And it came to a fairly abrupt end. I didn't do a lot of retirement planning. So I found myself in retirement at about 3 years ago, a little earlier than expected. And found the first year wasn't too bad because I was able to do chalk painting and stenciling and some of the creative stuff that I had pent up inside of me over the years. But I quickly found, because of the being in sales and training and coaching and in a sales driven environment where you've got targets, felt very much that I was missing
You were
something.
missing something.
Yeah, that adrenaline that you get when you
Yeah.
make that big sale, that
Yes.
opportunity to coach and help other people and mentor. And so, one of the big things for me is, if anybody had have told me in my younger self that I would have been in sales, I would have said you're crazy, because you couldn't have met a more shy person in your entire life than me. Seriously, wouldn't you agree? Like, I
Totally,
was super,
totally.
super shy. So the great thing for me was learning that sales is very learnable. It's a process and it's a learned skill. You don't have to have the gift of the gab, and you don't have to, be this, really outgoing individual. Interesting stat, as a matter of fact, is 75% of the most successful salespeople are introverts, because they're more other-centered than me-centered.
Yeah.
So missed all that, basically. And the opportunity came along to work with Cindy, and it was like, perfect. This is such a great fit because I've got the background, and she's got the connections and obviously the background as well. So we felt it was a really good opportunity and fit for us.
Yeah. I just want to comment about, you said the first year of retirement was great. It was like one great big long vacation, right? There's also a concept that that first year, actually the first 18 months of retirement, is like the honeymoon period.
Absolutely.
And then we come to a point where we're sitting one day having coffee in the morning. We say, now what?
What's next?
Now
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
So you had that realization earlier than most people do.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
So Cindy, I want to ask you, was there at some point in your career, like your later career, where you realized that you would continue working, that retirement was definitely not an option for you?
It wasn't ever that came up. It was just like, I have a goal to just keep going as long as I can go.
Yeah.
And the beautiful part of having my own business is I don't have to worry about somebody saying bye-bye or getting a package or whatever. I'm completely in control of my future. So, has it always been easy? No, absolutely not. Was it the easiest road to take? I think so in some ways, because I made some mistakes, but they were my mistakes. But I do believe that having the choice of being able to work without any fear of somebody coming up to you and saying to you, you're too old or whatever, just is like, to me, it's everything. We talk about that as having freedom, and being able to just generate revenue as long as I want is fantastic. It's never like I said, okay, I'm going to at 61 or 62, am I going to retire 65? It was just like, I'm going to keep going until I'm used up.
Okay, and so what would you say? Like you mentioned a few things about like the revenue and the opportunity to do your own thing. Is there something really deep inside you? Like sometimes I talk to women about it's the purpose or it's the social aspect. Is there something that really calls to you and said, this is why I'm continuing to work after 60?
Yeah. Well, my business is actually, I'm a bit of a matchmaker. So I work with organizations to connect them with the right training partner. And nothing gives me more satisfaction than when a client said, I could look 6 months on the internet and never found the connection that you brought me. Or one of my partners will say, my goodness, this is like the best customer ever. Like it is like a perfect fit. So there's a lot of intrinsic, I don't know the word I'm looking for, but there's a lot of validation
Yes.
and the perfect word inside of me that gets me motivated to continue to prospect, because that's what I do most of my day. And I know people, they would avoid that like the plague, and yet if I'm not doing it, I don't feel like I'm working. And so I mean the landscape has changed as far as sales and social media and all that kind of thing, but I still get so much satisfaction out of pleasing my customers.
Now, Susan mentioned about sales professionals being successful when they are actually introverts. You gave that statistic. Was there one time in your early life, Cindy, where you recognized that you had the gift of sales?
I was like Susan. The truth is, I saw the salespeople come in on Friday afternoons where I was working, and they all looked like they were having so much fun. I wanted to do that. And I started to take courses before I even became a salesperson. I'd already taken 4 courses at Seneca College, sales courses, before I became a salesperson. So, and I was lucky. I had someone who hired me and mentored me. And I only had 2 jobs outside of my own business. So it was pretty terrific. I've had a really awesome career.
Susan, you were saying because you were with a corporate, and both of you sort of mentioned this, that there's not as much choice when you're in corporate about when your last day is. Okay.
No.
And did that come as a surprise to you?
No, it's something that I sought out in terms of it, although I wasn't necessarily ready to stop working.
So my follow-up question to that is for other women who are in the corporate world, perhaps not knowing what they're going to be doing when they do retire. Do you have any words of wisdom for those particular women?
Yeah, absolutely. If they could start doing their soul searching early, and try to, there's all kinds of personality testing and whatnot, to see what you're, sort of more innately, I hate the word passionate, but that's probably a good word to use, interested or really passionate about. So you can kind of hit the ground running when you do retire, to take on sort of another path, if you will. I mean, you might want to take that 18 months first and do your exploring then as well. But I think the more you recognize what it is that you're interested in, you're good at, you want to do before you leave, better off you'll be.
Yeah. Now I want to know about what you are doing now, because the 2 of you are working together. So tell us.
For better or worse.
For better or worse, like a marriage, right?
Yeah.
Actually, we've always gotten along. We've never really had any big issues, maybe when we were younger, but not as adults. And well, what we've created is a sales training program. And as a sales trainer myself, and having done sales training for years and years and years, we recognize that there is a real need for sales training for women. And we've really focused on getting the mindset right is the foundation of our program. Because if you haven't got the right mindset to go into sales, if you you know, there's so many negative memes, there's so much negative, you know, even some of the words that we use when we talk about sales, like who wants to be a target, and some of the old phrases that are used, it's just a really,
what about a deadline?
yeah, or things
Or
like
penetrate
that.
the market.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah. So, but it's that, I mean, we're not going to change that. We get that. But we really work at the beginning of our course is to get people in the right mindset so they can view themselves as an ally, as a support, and really get their value. Because once they know their value, they're really not selling, they're sharing.
Mm-hmm.
That's my opinion. Susan, would you like to add to that, or?
yeah, I think what we feel we may bring to the table, obviously, is the experience. And I think we both did a lot of sort of mental self-help work in terms of just wrestling with that negative voice, that little voice in your head. I know what voice, right?
You don't have one, do you?
No. So just knowing that how important that is, and I think I mentioned earlier that sales is such a learnable skill. It is an absolute process. So to be able to teach people what you say, this is what you say when, you know, for your approach, this is how you have to prep, this is what you say for your objections, how you get people, you know, how you earn credibility, create curiosity, all those things that are really important to be able to keep the sales process going are absolutely learnable and teachable.
Yep.
So I think that's where we feel that a lot of people just think you can go in, knock on the door, and start talking about your product and do your you know, elevator pitch. Well, you're going to be dead in the water right away if you do that.
Mm-hmm.
So entrepreneurs in particular, I think, are a bit of our target. Not that we want to limit it at all, but because they're really good at what they do. Often they haven't got a clue about sales. So it's an opportunity to work with people and impart some of our, I'd say, hard-earned knowledge and experience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That hard-earned knowledge is actually helping you to have purpose in your working life.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Oh, for sure. Giving back a bit.
Yep.
Giving back.
For me, it's not about the finances.
It is for me.
That's fair. But it's more about, gosh, I do love to help. I do like to, because I was a coach and a trainer and a mentor for 20 odd years with my salespeople, and it was the best part of my job.
You don't want to lose that.
I don't. I miss it. I miss it a lot.
Yeah. Just to reiterate what Susan said, it really is a learned skill. And, you know, the people that went through our pilots, the results that they got right away, they would try things. Or I do training for the Canadian Professional Sales Association, and there was one lady, just a quick story, and I gave her a tip to try. It's a 3-day course. She went home that day and she tried. She was like over the moon the next day. She said, I've been doing it this way for like years and years and years. I did it your way, and I got in and I talked to the guy right away. And she said, in fact, I couldn't shut him up. So it's about the tried and true things. And one thing Susan and I, you know, there's theory. There is certainly theory, but it's very practical, and it's based on our own experience. And I think that carries the weight of the program.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
I really wish you all the best with this new program that you have launched, but you are making some significant improvements to it that will meet the needs of entrepreneurs and your other target markets. And I think that's a great way to end it. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Patricia.
Have fun.
We are. Thank you.
If you enjoyed the video today, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe. Check out the links below. And remember, take care of yourself, do what's best for you, and don't jeopardize what you have built for yourself.